Hi, hey, welcome. It's Dena Tollefson. Welcome to my studio. I'm so glad to have you here today. So today is going to be a very exciting live stream. I'll be unboxing a new Caran Museum Aquarelle Watercolor Pencils. And I'm so excited to get this box. I've been waiting to get it. I'm going to also show you today how you can make your own little allium. This is a little fun and easy thing to do that you can make with your own watercolor pencils. Super fun and easy to do. So we'll be doing that, and I wanted to show you I have an allium from my garden. This is and look at this super long stem. Look how long this thing is. It's Allium Ambassador, and it actually, I'll smell it. It actually smells like chives. It smells really good. So anyway, let's get started with the unboxing, and I'm so glad that you're here. And if you are new to my channel, I welcome you, and if you've come back from before, thank you for coming back. It's just wonderful to have you here. So let's get these things moved out of the way. Here, I'll move this little pencil over here and the flowers over here. And so here's the box. All right, let's get started with this. Get this guy open. So I live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in the United States. And this came all the way from London, England, from Jackson's. See if we can get this thing open. This is really... I don't want to, I know there's a box in here. I don't want to mess up the box. This is like Christmas, you know, and opening a new set of art supplies. So, and we'll turn this over here. There we go. Okay, so let's see what we have inside. Lots of bubble wrap. And here is our item that we've ordered. Let's get this over here. I'll move the box off to the side. And what we can do now is let's check the chat and see if anybody is here, has joined. And if you'd like to stay quiet in the chat, that works. And if I'd love to interact with you though if you're there. So please, if you are here, go ahead and let me know, and love to chat with you. All right, so I can see we have lots of people here already. Thank you everyone for being here. So this is the boxed set of Caran of their watercolor pencils. Oh, this is really on here. My goodness. Let's get this off. And, oh, I see some people are here. Okay, so hi. Hi, Joe. Good to see you. Joe Legas here. And Batul Miriam, hi. Hey, Chrissy. Oh, Jackson's is a great company. Yeah, you know, I've bought a few things from them before, and they really, you're right, they're wonderful. And Schaefer Dietrich, hi Schaefer, hi Dietrich, good to see you. And Helen, hey Helen, good to see you also. Thank you so much. And our calligraph, thank you everyone for being here. So let's get this wrapping off. My goodness, they really wrap it very nicely. I'll put this, I'm going to set the bubble wrap here so Muffin doesn't get caught in it, because that could be a problem for little Muffin, my Yorkshire Terrier. So, okay, so here is how the box comes. It's beautifully boxed. Oh my gosh, look how pretty. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at this. I love it. Oh my gosh. And so Dietrich says that you are now monetized. Yeah, so when you, so you might be noticing if there's an ad on the thing. So yeah, I'm monetized. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for noticing. It's a big milestone, and I want to thank everyone for all your support. So here is how the box comes out. So we got a couple little fuzzies on here. We'll get this other box, the inner box, moved out of the way. And this is a beautiful, look at that, it's a beautiful wooden box that this comes in. Let's see what we have here. Oh my gosh. And then here's what it looks like inside. Oh, this is just gorgeous. So pretty. So here is the box. So it looks like there are 80, and I'll hold this up so you guys can see. So there are there's 76 Museum Aquarelle, and then 4 doubled colors. And then there are 3 of the Technalo, and then 1 of the Grafwood. And I read a little bit about this, so let's, when we open the box, I'll talk a little bit about what these other 2 are, as well as the watercolor pencil. So if you're used to colored pencils can either be wax-based or they can be oil-based. And, oh, I'm gonna smell the pencils for you, Joe. Yes, I will. Okay. Oh my goodness, let's have a smell here. Oh, they smell good. They smell really good. This is cedar wood. They're made of cedar, and they're made in Switzerland. And there are 28 pencils in each tray. So look at this here. We'll take a little peek. Okay, and so Chrissy is saying that your friend has this set. She's a big pencil watercolor artist. And oh, hey, Joy. Good to see you, my friend Joy. Okay, and so Dietrich is asking, how do these differ from the non-museum ones? So this is their top of the line of their version. So these are I would say top of the line. This is what they say is their top of their line. Now, I don't own any other Caran Dash products, so I don't have a reference point to compare them with other than I have been borrowing Helen Schaefer's Derwent pencils, and I can compare them against those, her watercolor pencils, but I don't have a comparison other than they say that this is their best one as far as color, how vivid the colors are, how easy they are to dissolve in water, that type of thing. So, so when we look at these colors here, here's the box. I'll just move this little, looks like there's a little protective thing in each of these trays. So here's another tray. Here are the greens and the yellows and the blues and purples. So it looks like, let's see here. And okay, and so Joy says, I just got some watercolor pencils and you've been coloring in stamps. Oh, awesome. And Joy does these, if you guys aren't already subscribed to Joy, she does these wonderful junk journals, and every Saturday has a premiere with them. So I encourage you to check those out if you haven't already. So let's take one of these things out here. These are, and then here's the third tray. So, and it looks like the tray, it looks like there's a soft foam thing, and I'm gonna hold the pencils upside down and see if we can look at the bottom without any falling out. Yeah, none of them fall out. But there's a wooden tray here, and then these foam things. And the pencils each have they're a 0.38 millimeter core, and this is a specially formulated watercolor pigment that you can use either as a colored pencil, or you can use it and get it wet, and it will dissolve completely into watercolor. So you can do some special effects where you might want to do just some fine detail work, or like this little practice allium that I did here. This one I did with the Derwent pencils, and so I'm going to be interested to see how this looks, how this works with the new Museum Aquarelle ones, and just see how it looks. Okay, so let me check the chat, see what you guys are saying here. And the colors, yes, these are beautiful colors. Yeah, and these are, each one has got an edge on it so it won't roll off your surface. And then we know that it's a watercolor pencil because of the little watercolor, the little brush, which is shown here. And then the number of the pencil is shown here as well, and the name of it. And then here we've got olive clare and light olive. So let's see what these other ones say. I know that these all are considered their most light fast version that they have. The light fast number, the higher the light fast number, the longer your artwork will work or will stay vivid in sunlight or in something like that. So for example, this one is 5 stars, but that's all going to be kind of a function of the pigment itself. So what we can do is maybe look at some of these and swatch them out and then give a little quick try here. Yeah, they have a very good light fast rating, absolutely. So, okay, so here we have, this is now, they said that there are going to be 4 repeats. So we can come in here and I guess find which ones are repeated. I assume that they made the most popular ones the repeats. And so just looking here, I can see it looks like 2 of these white ones. So Caran is very famous for their wonderful art materials, but it looks like they've got 2 of the white, and it looks like 2 of this yellow one, and this one, so I assume they put the most popular colors, lemon yellow, so they've got 2 of the lemon yellows. See if you can see, okay, here's another one, another double is 2 of the scarlet, and I'm just scanning through to see if I can see if there are 2 of another one here. We'll see if we find if you see a repeat of another one, because they said that there are going to be 4 extra pencils in the set. See, maybe it's on this tray. And if we can't see it, maybe we'll find it here as we go through. But anyway, here's this first pencil. So this is called a Grafwood. This is what we call a standard graphite pencil, but this is their version of the pencil. And then when we look here, the white is, let's see here, that's just a watercolor pencil, but these other pencils here, I'm going to pull these out of the box. These are what they're calling their Technalo pencils. So I read about these, and this is actually really exciting. I've never heard of this before. I'm new to watercolor pencil technology, but these Technalo pencils, there are, oh, and hey Davey, welcome. So glad to have you here, and if you guys haven't checked out Davey's channel recently, he just did a fantastic original drawing. So he has these, it was a, oh my gosh, what is the name of, Davey, put the name of your drawing in there for everybody so that they know, but it was just really awesome. So these Technalos are water soluble, which is super exciting. So there's a B, an HB, and a 3B. So what that means is that as you get up in numbers, so a 3B is going to be softer than a B, for example, and HB is the harder of these. So let's just, these are water soluble. So let's just I'm going to grab my thing and let's just give that a little try and see how water soluble they are, because I've never used a water soluble graphite before. So let's get this going here. So this is the Caran dash. Here's the pencil. So this one is the B. And let's just get a little bit going here. Here's the HB. Let's just swatch these out. These are really, when you put them on the pen, this is watercolor paper in a journal. And then here's the 3B. And I can see when I'm doing the 3B, I can feel already that it is much softer than the other pencils are, but it just lays down beautifully. And now let's see if we can go ahead and add a little bit of water to that and see what we can get. And the Poisoning's Helm, yes, absolutely. Oh, and Kijun Comic Art, Alexius, welcome, and I'm glad to see you. All right, so. Oh, and also, since my mother, Helen Schaefer, is on the phone, if you guys aren't already subscribed to her, she has 4 videos out now, and I'm very proud of her, and I want to encourage you to check out her channel if you haven't already and give her some love and support. I know a lot of you already have, and that would be great. But it's Helen Schaefer, Schaefer, and she's on the chat here right now. So I'm just taking a little watercolor brush. I just took some water. This is some water that is out of just plain tap water in a little eyedropper. And let's just see how these water-soluble pencils, let's see if these actually do dissolve in water or not. Let's see how these go. Usually, you know, when you put water in a pencil, you don't really get anything, you know, it won't dissolve. And I'll just get a regular pencil here by comparison. I have a little mechanical pencil here. Let's just do this for comparison. So this is regular lead. And let's just do this in comparison and see. And this is HB lead. Let's see if we can activate that with water or not. And it's great to see you, Alexius. All right, so let's add a little water to this and see. Let me just rinse this off, make sure there's no residual on it. But just dipping into the water, let's see if we can activate. Okay, and we don't really activate the regular lead. Just gets the paper wet, but it doesn't actually move or dissolve or activate. So this is an interesting, these Technalos are kind of a neat bonus to get in the set. So I'm going to be excited to try these. I know when I've done watercolor paintings and I've used graphite to first draw on, sometimes I'm finding that I have to erase my watercolor marks and that type of thing. So it's exciting to see on these Caran box, on this box here, it's interesting to see that they also are including these Technalo pencils, which is a neat little extra. All right, so now that we've tried that out, let's go ahead and let's swatch out some of these colors and let me know what colors you guys want to see first. So do you want to see, tell me in the chat, do you want to see a pink or a green or a blue? And we'll get those things going. I'm going to set these back in the box for now. Let's swatch a few of these things out and then see how they perform. Let's see if we can get them to dissolve. So that was the thing with, and I'm going to grab a little Sharpie here so we can make some boxes. Okay, green gold. All right, let's try a green gold, Joe. Absolutely. So let's just get a color. I'm going to make a few boxes here, and then let's just swatch some of these guys out and see how they work. And in doing that, let's get a little bit closer. I'll move the camera a little closer here to the surface. And then we can see a little better here. Get that light out of the way. There we go. Okay. So this thing is twisted here. Let me just get this organized. Sorry about that. I want to just make sure we can all see here everything. There we are. Okay, so green gold. Let's find a good green gold in here for Joe. Yeah, this one looks really pretty. This one is the brown olive. And I see here's another one that looks kind of like green gold. A lot of good choices here. And this one is green ochre. So let's try green ochre first. Oh, wow. Wow, these go on here beautifully. Oh my goodness. It's like butter when you put this on. Wow, so they say that you can use this, they say you can use these as just a colored pencil by themselves, or you can get them wet. So, but boy, just putting it on as a colored pencil, it really is smooth and it really fills in really nicely. All right, so this is this is the green ochre. And then let's see what this one is. This one is the brown olive. And let's give this guy a little try here. So similar to the green ochre, it looks like it's got a little bit more of a gray tone to it. And now, now that we've tried it as just a colored pencil, let's activate it with water. So let's get our little bit of water here. And let's give this guy a whirl. So I'm going to leave part of it. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Going to leave part of it just as the colored pencil part, and then part of it, let's activate that. That's really nice. And okay, so what set is this? All right, so Chrissy's asking what set is it, and it is the, so the set is called the 76 Museum Aquarelle. So these are the Caran dash, what they're calling the Museum Aquarelle. And, but in the set of 76, they actually give you 76 pencils, plus they have 4 repeated pencils, plus they have these 4, the 3 Technalos and the 1 Grafwood. So you actually get 76 individual colors plus 4 repeats, which would be 80, plus 4 more, which is 84. So you actually get 84 pencils. And but they say it's their box of 76, but you get like these extra bonus ones. Let me get a little bucket of water here, just so I can. I'm going to get just a little bucket of water to rinse the brush off so we don't contaminate the colors. So here is, now that we've tried activating the one, let's go in now and activate the brown olive. So I'm just going to have a little bit of water on my watercolor brush. But so when I've used the Derwent pencils before, which are also wonderful pencils, the Derwent are great also. I've noticed that when the difference here between quality-wise, just using the work, my impression here is that I can go in and I'm not seeing any individual marks. Like when I'm using a Derwent, for example, and I'll show you on the little artwork that I did here, I'm seeing these little marks which are left by the pencil itself. And now on top of this, I went and added extra marks on purpose. But what happens is it dissolves, but it doesn't dissolve completely. Some of the different colors are not, they're leaving like little scratchy marks. Now, I actually do like that effect, and I was trying to go for that effect on this practice piece. But what's nice is on these Museum Aquarelles, they are dissolving completely. So, so let's see here. Yeah, that would be a nice gift. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so, all right, and so Davey's asking Chrissy to use pencils, and then you've done some for your local gallery. Yes, and Chrissy also does a lot of live streams. She's very talented also here. Let's see here. Now, let's just grab another color. Let's grab this one. Let's see what this one, let's swatch this one out. What is this guy called? This is the Beryl Green. And then let's see, let's also get a couple of other colors. Let's see what we can do. How about another green? Let's compare that one to, this one's a pretty one. This one is light olive. And then let's take a look here also at some of these other colors. You gifted one to a friend. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, and let's also check out this manganese violet. M-A-N-G-A-N-E-S-E violet. And let's see how these look when we put them on. So I'll hold this up a little closer. So we can see here is the, oh, purples and orange. Okay, so you know what? Let me grab, Joe's asking for purple and orange also. Let me grab an orange here for Joe. This is a pretty one. This is called Cornelian. Let's swatch that out. And then see, so I'm gonna first go in like you would with a colored pencil. So, wax pencils are softer than oil-based pencils. And watercolor pencils are even softer yet. When you apply them as you see I'm not getting any harsh lines, especially if I'm doing these little circles. But I can fill this in completely. And if I do get any lines, I know that, I'm expecting that they're going to dissolve out. So there's the cornelian. Here is our manganese violet. That's a nice soft and gentle color. It's very pretty. I was expecting it to be darker. That's a very pretty subtle color. I think we can use that in our allium that we're going to make here. We'll set that one aside and use that. And then here is, okay, so let's check the chat here and see what you're saying. Okay, so Chrissy, you're saying these are on your bucket list. This might be a neat Christmas gift too. Absolutely. And yeah, Joe, they are very earthy colors. I agree. Okay, so this one is the light olive. Let's just see how this looks on our watercolor paper. It's going on very smoothly and very beautifully. I'll say this is probably the creamiest colored pencil I've ever used in my life. It's very weird. It's just really pleasing to use this. And it really goes on very nicely onto the watercolor paper. This is a cold pressed watercolor paper. The one thing that you want to be sure when you're using watercolor pencils is to use watercolor paper. That's super duper important because if you're going to use them just dry and you are not planning to activate them with water, it's fine to use these watercolor pencils just as they are in a dry form, and you can use them on any kind of paper. But if you're going to get them wet, be sure to use watercolor paper because watercolor paper is intended to not fall apart or buckle up to the point it's thick enough and it's set up so it will not fall apart when you get it wet. And you can wet it and do quite a bit to it and it's going to be just fine. So now when I'm activating this with water, we can get a really beautiful, can move the color around and then bring it all the way down. So I'm just going to, in between here, just wipe off on a paper towel. Okay, so let's get the light olive and see how that looks. What I think is kind of neat is like what you get with the colored, that's another difference I'm noticing between the Derwent set, which again also is a wonderful product. The Derwent, when you get the color wet, it sometimes comes up as a much different color than what you see on the paper. In other words, like this might go like, say for example, very dark when we put it at. Now the manganese violet, the color is not super strong on that. I noticed that when we did the pencil. Let me go back in on the top. I know you can also go in and you can layer on top of what you've already done. So now that we've got this wet, the surface of the paper is wet. And so see, we can add this on top and add a really full, thick layer. Let's add more water on and see if we can get this to travel down. So the manganese does not travel as easily as the other colors, but what was interesting is when you go back over it with additional layers, here's the cornelian. That's really pretty. That's a beautiful, intense color. All right, now let me check the chat and see what you guys are saying. Okay, so Helen Schaefer. Oh, you had some computer problems, Helen. Yeah, I was just pointing out that I should go out and support Helen Schaefer's channel if you haven't already. And she's got some beautiful artwork out there. That's my mother, Helen Schaefer. Okay, and you've got the Derwent. Yeah, Derwents are wonderful. In fact, here's the Derwent set right here. This is the set I've been borrowing from my mother, Helen Schaefer. And these are wonderful as well. So here Here's a Derwent. If I just use let's just grab a Derwent just to kind of compare. I'm going to try and get a color that's similar to this. Here's this green. Here's the beryl green. Here's a phthalo green blue shade. So let's just for fun, and the Derwents also have the color on the bottom of it, says what color it is. Wood casing, beautifully made. But let's just do, just off over here, just for fun, let's go in and do the Derwents. Okay, so, whoops, let me get this all the way colored in. And I'm going to, let's mark on here just to compare. Just inquiring minds want to know. I'm curious to see what the difference will be since I've been just only ever using the Derwent pencil. Let me grab mine now. Where's my brush? Here we go. So let's just give that a little go here and see how that dissolves. So here the color comes down also. But it doesn't dissolve as easily as this other one. This one completely dissolves. This one, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I can see some of the marks, the pencil marks. Let me go up here and see. I have to go back over it several times to dissolve it, but they're still wonderful pencils. Let's go back up to our barrel, and I'll go up and get this whole thing wet. So I wanted to leave a part of the color. Now that this is wet, let me go back over and see and layer this and see how, if you want to pre-wet your paper, you can get a different effect. It almost acts like a marker. And here on the Derwent, let's try that, and let's put color over the top when we already have the color in there. So I can see there's a little bit of a difference. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's not a lot of a difference. Here the color's a little bit fresher maybe. Maybe it's a little bit more opaque, but they're both very beautiful, I think. Here when I went back over with the Caran dash on the beryl green, it came over really smoothly. The Derwent is a little bit rough, but on the other hand, if you're looking for texture, that can be a bonus. So let's see here now. Let's see, I'm going to check the chat and see what you guys are up to here. All right, and let's now, I'll move the Derwent out of the way. Okay. And, oh, Helen Schaefer, you can have your Derwent back. Yeah, absolutely. And I say thank you. Thank you, Helen Schaefer, for letting me borrow these Derwents all these years. That's been wonderful. That's great. Okay, and yeah, I do love these new pencils. These are wonderful. And so on the chat, let's say you're saying Derwent and Spectrum Noir watercolor pencils Joe has, and Chrissy's got them. And yes, absolutely. They're more affordable, and they are nice to have both because you can layer, you can create different effects, you can use certain passages of your work, you can use one type. And I know a lot of artists who have colored pencils, watercolor pencils, they like to really use different pencils for different occasions and different things. And that absolutely is perfect. So let's now go ahead and make a little allium. I want to show you guys how you can do your own allium using your watercolor pencils, whatever brand you have. And so here was the little Derwent allium that I made, and here is the allium from my garden. Look at this giant beast here. This is Allium Ambassador, and I have a few hosta leaves and some lady fern. But this allium is, if you look, there are these little, it's just made of so many tiny, tiny little flowers, individual. Each of the flowers has 6 points on it, or 6 petals. and the individual flowers are at different heights. And then here was that big stalk again. So it actually came on this giant, you know, look at this giantly long stalk that this was on. And yeah, I love alliums too. They're really nice because they, the deer won't bother them, and they are such a wonderful thing in the garden. They look like a lollipop. So let's go ahead and let's create an allium like this. When I made this allium, I was looking out into my garden, and the sun was coming from the other direction, and it was lighting the allium almost like it was dark in the center and light here, and I could see light in the stem. And so the allium that I have here in the studio is not lit in that same way, but I want to remember or recreate that feeling that I had when I'm looking out at the allium and the light is coming in from the side. So, Dietrich is saying, Helen's still having problems with her computer. New computer keyboard keeps adding letters. She has no control of the keyboard. Oh my goodness. Well, that could be a problem if there's no control of the keyboard. That's a dangerous thing. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that she is up and at it here soon. All right. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So, you know what, Davey? I love botanical art too. There's something. I went to I visited my parents. Dietrich Schaefer, who's on the stream right now, and Helen Schaefer. I visited them in Florida this year, and there was at the garden club, there was a person who's like a certified botanical specialist, and she had to take hundreds of hours to to be actually considered a full botanical thing. I just kind of mess around with botanicals, and I'm not an expert, but she was really, and I don't recall the artist's name, but she was really very skilled with that, and it was very impressive to see her doing her thing. So let's go ahead and start our allium. So what I'd like to do is let's grab a couple of the colors here from our new set. So this one is ultramarine violet. Let's begin with that, and let's just kind of when you're making your own allium, they're really easy flowers to create in watercolor. Just make a little cloud, make a little circle like this, and then use your watercolor pencil, and I'm using the lightest color, so we're going to have very light on the outside of the flower where the light is coming through. So looks like a little cotton ball kind of an effect. Just do that, and you can put also a few little random marks inside here. And oh, I love hamsters. Hi, I love hamsters. Good to see you. And Chrissy, hi hamster. See, Chrissy's lost control of her keyboard too. It must be a thing today as everyone's losing control of the keyboard, right? Okay, so once you have your little cloud thing, go ahead and just sketch in a stem for yourself. So I'm going to be using this is our light olive. That's this color here. And then the manganese violet, which we had swatched out here. I'll also use a little bit of that color here in our allium, and I'm just going to I want to not, because the flower itself has these gaps and these holes, and they're light and dark colors when you look through. I want to make sure to not make it all one color. Just trying to get the feeling of the flower and the feeling of roundness. So we'll just go in and do that here with the manganese violet. And let's just kind of sketch in a stem. So here we have a stem like this, and these allium stems. So here's the one that came from my garden. This is just could be like a weapon or something. It's just, oh, and thank you, Chrissy. Thank you for saying that about the likes. I appreciate that. This thing could be like a baton or a big weapon or something like that. This is a very sturdy stem. So this Allium Ambassador, we have in our garden Allium Sensation, which are the first that bloom in the spring. And then we have also Allium, and a lot of you might be familiar with Globemaster, which is kind of the flagship allium in the Allium world, Globemaster, which has an even larger head than this one. So this is called Allium Ambassador, and they are a member of the onion family, and you plant them in the fall of the year with like you would a regular spring flowering bulb. And what happens is they will grow and they'll develop their root system over the winter. And then in the spring, you will get this wonderful, joyful, these wonderful leaves come up. And the leaves themselves I did not bring one of the leaves in from this plant, but the leaves tend to mature first. And so this is a hosta leaf, but they have a long strap-like leaf, but they're kind of a long, thin, green strap-like leaf. And let's check the chat and see what you're saying. And onion and, oh, Davey, like, am I making you hungry for liver and onions, Davey? I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, and Dietrich is saying keyboard problem must be associated with YouTube login, and Helen says, oh, Helen's back. Reminds me of a car that does not start. Dena has very impressive alliums. I've not seen them yet this season. But yeah, my husband, Bill Tollefson, plants allium for me every year, and as part of the spring flowering bulbs that he puts in. So let's give this guy a little try. This one's called Periwinkle Blue. Let's swatch that one out here. Let's get a little swatch going for this one. I want to try this one, Periwinkle Blue. So this one is Periwinkle Blue. Now the reason a person you might wonder, why are you swatching it out first, or why are you testing it first? Because I am not familiar with these colors. This is a new thing for me, this set of watercolor pencils. Since I was used to the Derwents, I know what the Derwents do, and I know what colors to expect and how they perform. But since this is my first time using the Caran Museum Aquarelle, I need to try the color out, and like by swatching, to see if, and I recommend that you do that if you aren't familiar with a certain color. Try it out first and then see what it's like. Now this one's a blue. I think let's stick with the purple colors. When you're doing your allium, try and just stay in the purple colors if you can, but you can add other colors as well, of course. Let's look at dark ultramarine and just try that. See if that's too dark. Ultramarine. We'll see if the dark ultramarine is too dark or if it's a good color to use. It's really a pretty, this really looks like when you use oil color or acrylics. If you're familiar with ultramarine blue, this is really coming out really true to color. I'm not having to press very hard to get this deep, rich color to come out. And let's activate these with water. So I've got my little in here. Whoops. One of the pencils just fell on a stone floor, and I'm happy to report that it did not shatter. That's always the concern when you have watercolor pencils or color pencils. If they fall on a hard surface, that's a travertine floor. I'm pleased to tell you it did not shatter. Okay, so that would be terrible. Here I unbox my thing, and then if I were to ruin a pencil right away, that would be a little bit upsetting. Okay, so let's just move this dark ultramarine and see how this can be activated. That's really nice. All right, and then let's also try the Periwinkle Blue. I'm considering using that on the allium. Let's see how that activates. See that it's just like using regular watercolor when you activate it. That's very pretty. Okay, so based on that, let's go ahead and use the Periwinkle Blue on our, that's not that one here. Let's see, here we go. Here's the Periwinkle Blue. Let's put that on our allium. Okay, and let's check the chat here and see what you guys are up to. And, oh, you love that name, Periwinkle Blue. Isn't that a beautiful, I love this color too, Chrissy. This is not as good as magenta, right? I wonder if there's a magenta in here. Now, Chrissy loves to say the word magenta, and she says it with her English accent, and it just sounds so, let's see if there's actually a magenta in here. It sounds so pleasing. This one is purplish red, which is kind of a magenta. I'm going to turn and see. I don't know if there'll be a magenta in here. Crimson, aubergine, carmine. Okay, I don't see a magenta, but anyway, if you listen to her live stream, she says it, and it sounds very pleasing. Okay, so now in the center of your allium, go ahead and I'm just going to make some little circles here. And go ahead and get a little darker color in your center. And I'm going to put a few marks in here that are 6 points, which are like the little flowers, because we know that our flowers, our petals, each have 6 points. I'm going to go ahead and, in addition to making just a little thing, so if you put on your allium, put 6 points so that it feels like you're getting the individual petals. And then let's start this now. I'm going to do a layering technique, and you can, one way that you can do your watercolor pencil is you can do it all at once and then get it wet, or you can do like what we're going to do here, where we get it wet a little at a time and then do a layering. And when you layer over the top, so I'm just getting this wet with my watercolor brush. You could use also one of those tube brushes that just has water in it. You could use a cotton swab. There's lots of different ways you could get your water activated, or your watercolor pencil. But look how this is just picking up the color, and it's dissolving nicely. And we can leave some areas where they are. Here I can like take some of this, and I can move it around, and we can leave some areas where the pencil shows. We can do some where it is, we can just dissolve it as much or as little as you like. Okay, all right, and so let's see, and pencil connoisseur, it's so good to see you. Oh, and my goodness, Madonna, hi Madonna, and good to see you. And Sylvia, Sunflower Sylvia from France. Bonjour, Sylvia. I guess probably by you it might be like getting close to evening. And wonderful to see you guys. So for the people that have just joined, I'm doing an unboxing of these new in the wooden box. It's the Caran 76 Museum Aquarelle Watercolor Pencils, and so it's 76 colors. And then each of these come in their own tray, their own little wooden tray, and then they come out like this. And they also give you a bonus of 3 watercolor, or a dissolvable graphite and 1 regular graphite pencil, and then 4 of the colors are repeated. So you really actually get 84 colors in this set. And we're just going to we swatch some things out and just doing a quick little allium. And with your allium, you can make it as detailed as you want, or you can as light and as soft and gentle as you want, or you can do a thing and make it as dark as you want. So with this light olive that we started with, I'm going to show you now. I can take the pencil, and now that we activated it with water, I can come back in, and when I'm using the pencil on top, we can do the effect of getting watercolor as a wash, and also watercolor as just watercolor with detail, I guess is what it would be. So let's pick a green that will be a darker green that we can use. So we have this beryl green, but I feel like that's a little too bright. Let's pick a different one here to try. Let's swatch this one out. This is a dark phthalo cyanine green. All right, so let's try these and see which ones we want to use. So here is, let's pick 3 different greens here to look at. And oh my gosh, Madonna, yeah, isn't that a beautiful box? And yes, Sylvia, they are so, I'm so excited. This is their top of the line watercolor pencil. And the difference between colored pencils and watercolor pencils are colored pencils are made with wax or with oil and pigment and binder. Watercolor pencils, and with colored pencil, you can use a solvent to, if you wanted to use like alcohol or some other things to take the color and move the color around. What's nice about a watercolor pencil is you can use it either as a colored pencil on regular paper, or you can use it on watercolor paper like I'm doing here, and just this sketchbook I have. And you can activate it, or you can use them just as pencils themselves. So here's the, I'm going to call this D dark phthalocylene green. All right, so that's this guy. That's a nice color. And these colors, the Caran Dash, this is the smoothest pencil I've ever used. It just goes down like magic. And the color seems to be very true to the color that you see. So they have, these are varnished, these are cedar, and the color that's on here is very true to the color that you actually see. So there's no confusion. On other watercolor things that I've used before, it's hard to tell what color you're going to get when you're working with the actual pencil. So let's try this one, dark sap green. And then let's look at this other one here. This is a really bright one. Let's look at this guy here. This one is grass green. And when you're making your own allium, you're going to have your own preference on what colors you like to use. And so whatever color appeals to you, because it's your artwork and it's your vision and your thoughts, you can use, you don't even have to use green. You could use blue, you could have the allium in any color that you like. Okay, so that's our grass green. And then the dark sap green is, let's see here, when we're swatching these guys out, here's the dark sap green. Let's get him on the page. This one's got a lot more blue in it. Kind of a bluey gray. I like that color a lot. That's quite nice. But these just go on. You don't have to do layer after layer. They just kind of just go right onto the page. And let's check the chat here and see what you're saying. Oh, and Gracie is here. Hi, Gracie. And if I've missed anybody, I apologize. If you're here and I haven't said hello, please let me know, and I'd like to greet you again. And, well, Gracie, good to see you. And what's the weather like by you, Gracie? Let us know. So Gracie's in the UK. Also, a lot of you guys are in the UK. And also, I know we've got Sylvia's from France. And we have Australia and hamsters. I think you are, I want to say you're from like India. So let's see how this is swatching out here. This is our dark phthalocylene, what is it? Dark? What was this one called? Dark phthalocyanine green. That's a pretty one. Okay, and now here's the dark sap green. Got a lot of water on my brush here. There's dark. And then here's our grass green. Let's check this guy out. Ooh, that's really vivid and pretty. And that's a really nice one. So, you know what, let's kind of use, we can use a mix of these guys here. So let's get the dark sap green. Let's put this, so when you're doing your allium, like I am here, the light is going to be coming, so we want to leave a light area here. So let's get some of this dark color going in here, and then the ground is dark, so we want to make sure that we get some dark in here, run a little bit of dark on here, just kind of sketching and playing around and having fun. And that's what art is all about, is to enjoy yourself when you're working. Here's the dark Thiosilene green. Let's get a little bit, and I'm just going to get a little up into here. And we can just kind of layer these pencils as well. And then let's put the grass green in too. So the grass green is going to give us that really fresh, because the green here on our stem is, oh, and thank you so much, you guys. Muttley put your playlist together. Oh, that's awesome, Chrissy. I love it. Muttley is Dave, who is Chrissy's husband. He's wonderful. And okay, and then a playlist. Yeah, tell us more about the playlist, Chrissy. What are you doing exactly? What are you up to, Chrissy girl? Tell us what you are doing. All right, so on this green, I'm just gonna run a little bit of this grass green just for some brightness. And now let's activate this and see what we've got. So just taking the watercolor brush, and again, you can apply as little water or as much water as you want. And we can leave some areas that are just in pencil. We can do some of the areas where we let the watercolor just kind of play out here. But this really does, these really dissolve fully. And so now I'm going to add a little bit more water to my, just my little ceramic water holder here, little ceramic watercolor dish. And let's go in now, and now that we have the allium going, let's get those darker colors going for the allium. And we have the manganese violet, which was here. We have the periwinkle blue. Let's go in with this periwinkle blue and do a little bit more dark color, because it's important on your allium that you have the flower dark enough in the dark areas and light enough in the light areas. So you can leave, and also some people like a really fresh and light and gentle touch on their watercolor. If you get to the point where you say, oh, you know, that's enough darkness for me, or I don't want to have it too overly pigmented, that kind of thing, then just stop and, you know, leave it where it was. But I'm just activating here, just sticking a little of the water in. And do you see that we don't have to actually use watercolor itself? We can do all of this with just pencil, just and you really can control. Know that when I've talked with people, they say that watercolor scares them because they don't have control over the watercolor and it just kind of goes everywhere. And that's what's so nice about watercolor pencils, is you have complete control over what you're doing with the pencil. So now that this area is wet, I'm coming in and I'm using the same periwinkle blue. And you see that we get a different effect. And I'm just going to put in the little, just showing the little stars of the flowers. But we get a different effect by doing wet on top of wet paper, and then we use the pencil on top of the wet paper. And when we do that, we can get this all different effect. Okay, so let's check the chat and see. Oh, thank you, Gracie. And Joe, it was great to see you. And yes. So what is Joe doing on Saturday? I missed that in the chat, what Joe is up to. Joe, I'll check on Instagram and check out what you're doing if you're going to post it on Instagram. But our allium, so we can just get in and you can just put these little star effects, because this flower consists of so many little stars. You can do yours, and now let's go back in with the dark sap green, and let's make the stem even darker yet. I really like a lot of contrast on my work. I like there to be a lot of contrast between the light areas and the dark areas. So now that that dried a little bit, you can just go back in and just use it like you would a colored pencil. And let's also go in here with, let's pick an even darker color of purple. So I'm seeing there's this dark, so we did the dark ultramarine, but that's a little bit too blue. Let's use, this one's called violet. Let's try this out here. Let's swatch this baby out and see what it looks like. Oh, bears. Oh, her bears show. Oh, yeah. So Jo makes these wonderful bears, handmade bears, and like out of like fur, like little furry teddy bears. And she made a great one, Crack-On, which was named Crack-On, that she sent to Chrissy. But yeah, but that's wonderful that she's doing that. All right. So thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate that. Let's try this violet. I think this violet is going to be good in our allium. So the idea here is to get some more darks in the thing. So here's violet. Let's see how that activates. Add a little bit of water. And yes, Crack-On. Crack-On is awesome. And Crack-On makes an appearance. Actually, Crack-On just made an appearance in your video yesterday. Chrissy did an abstract vase, and then she had Crack-On in there as well. But he's become an integral part of everything. So yeah, so this, oops, that's the green. I thought, you know, that looked a little green. Here's the violet. Okay, so let's do a little bit just to make sure that we get a dark enough center. Let's go in and add some dark, dark, dark to our flower. And I'm just going to use these little scratchy motions here with the pencil. And when you're working on your own allium, you'll have your own way that you like to do this. This is just kind of therapeutic here to do this kind of scribbling, scratching kind of motion. And I'm just covering all, and we're just making layers and layers. All right. And what we can do now is go in and we can activate this, or we could leave it as it is, but I'm going to activate. I'm not going to activate everything. I'm going to just leave some of the areas scratchy and some of them wet. And then we can go back again. Here's our violet. And let's make a couple of, see, do you see when I'm going back over the wet areas? So not all of them are wet, not all the areas are wet. But we can, if we lose our definition by getting it wet, we can just come right back over top again with that same pencil and make all the detail that we want. That's what's really neat about watercolor pencils. And Mr. Badger, oh, how fun is that? Mr. Badger, your art room assistant. I love it that he's Mr. Badger. How cute is that? That's awesome. That's great. Okay, and you know what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take a little of this violet and move it all the way down on the stem. So the allium that are in my yard that I was looking at the other day, as the plant matures, you'll get like a red or a violet color coming down the stem and even a little bit showing in the leaves. I want to get that dark, dark color here at the base. Okay, so let's now come back over with our lighter colors. So we have this, this was our ultramarine violet. That was, did we try ultramarine violet? We didn't try ultramarine violet. Let's try that here and see what that looks like. Just get this guy started here, and we'll get a little Sharpie edge. This color might be nice to use also. There are a lot of beautiful colors here in this set. Okay, so this one is called Ultramarine Violet. I think this color would be really pretty. Let's just swatch him out and see what he looks like here. when we activate it with water and bring that down. Yeah, that's very subtle and very pretty. Let's go in and let's put that in our drawing as well. I guess technically this is, since it's watercolor, and if you used it with other watercolors, then it would be a watercolor painting because this is watercolor pigment. However, if it's all done dry, then it would be a drawing. But when you use colored pencil, it's a little confusing. So like Colored Pencil Society of America, they have a website, and they say that if you use colored pencil, and if you got the pencil wet, then it's still a colored pencil or it's a drawing. But if it's watercolor and if you're doing it, then it's a painting. So I guess I don't really know what the difference is. So if any of you guys know, put that in the chat or put that down. I am not an expert of comparing and knowing the difference between what would be a drawing or a painting. I guess I would tend to call this like a little painting sketch or something like that, a little botanical, but I don't know if it would be necessarily called a painting. So that's a good question. So we can soften these marks here with water and get this color activated here. Since we put our darks in here, let's get these going as well. So I want to leave some of the definition, and again, how much you get these wet and how much you move the color around is just a matter of personal preference and your own taste and what you like to do. But it's just fun to just goof around and play with these and have a lot of fun. Not that goofing around, but I mean, it's like, you know, we have to have a little fun all the time, right? Not everything can be serious. So I'm just coming back in now with, what's this one? The manganese violet, adding a little more definition, and I'm marking over some of the areas where we have the strong marks. I don't want to leave all the marks showing. I want some of them to be lighter, some of them darker. And then let's come in with this, even a little bit of the dark ultramarine, just for a little additional color, just because we can. Why not? And then again with the periwinkle blue. And I'll make some of these marks then to look again like the 6 points of the flower. All right. Coming back with the violet. Now this one was a little bit on the dark side, so I'm going to move and I'll show you what I do. If I think it's a little too dark, I can just activate it with the water and just blend it down. Same thing with some of these other marks of the blue. I'm looking for, what I'm hoping for in this piece would be a mix of lights and darks, and some areas are detailed and some of them are more light and sketchy. That type of thing. And then if we go even now in here, let's see what this one is. This is a dark gray. This is black. I don't think we want to necessarily use, I'm looking at the black and, well, let's see here. Let's try a little bit. Yeah, I think the black actually could be kind of interesting in here. Just a little touch of the black, especially down in the core of the, down at the bottom to ground it. Little black is always nice. Some people avoid black in their work. I think it's, you know, sometimes it can add a little drama into the painting. Drama is good in your paintings, but not in your personal life, right? We'll save that for TV. Drama on TV is interesting to watch, but it's not good in the personal life. Okay, so a few more of these little marks like this. All right, very good. Let me check the chat and see. It's still a painting to you. Yeah, you know, I agree with that. Yeah, it does feel like a painting. It does. I agree, Chrissy. I am not a expert color pencil, what would you call an authority. I'm not an authority in colored pencil, and I know as far as like what it feels like to me, but everybody's an individual, and I don't want to misspeak, but that's just how it feels to me. So, all right, now one last step is to add a little bit of kind of the lighter green color. I want to add a little bit of that. Where's that green? I want to add just a little bit of that to get the feeling of sunlight coming in on the allium, on the edges. Just a few little touches here to kind of get the idea that the light is streaming in. And we can feel that the inner core, the light doesn't come into the inner core, but that we can feel it out here in this part. So the last step when you're doing your painting is you want to go in and do a, let me get a liner brush. So here's just a little liner brush, and I'll show you how you can sign your painting using you can either write with the watercolor brush, or you can do a thing where and we'll use black, or use this darker color here, this violet. We'll use the violet. You can just get the color on your paintbrush like this. I got the paintbrush wet, and then I'm just getting it wet, and I learned this little trick from watching Helen Schaefer's video where she did her, oh, and look, I did splatters when I did it. Oh, this was an unexpected, actually, I like these splatters. I'll put some more on. This was a thing when Helen Schaefer did her green gold. I saw that she did this method. So I'm just gonna go in and write my name in colored pencil using a paintbrush. Now, if you don't want to get splatters like I just had an unexpected thing where I got splattering because I had a little too much water on here and it splattered the pigment across, but it's like a happy accident. I actually like that. I like that effect. Let's do a few more little kind of splatter colors because that actually is kind of a neat effect. I had no idea. Okay, let's get a little green going here too. This reminds me of Amy's Arty Corner, if any of you guys watch her channel. She does this in her watercolor work. She has a lot of splattering and in her hummingbirds and that type of thing. So, all right, well, there we go. You do that too. Yes, splats, absolutely. Oh, well, yes, okay. All right, so here we go, guys. And I want to thank you guys for joining me today, and how exciting to try out the new Caran Dash, the box set of Museum Aquarelle. And I thank you for being here in the studio, and I hope to see you again. So until next time, this is Dena Tollefson, and bye-bye.